the Labor Party, which is pushing to introduce misinformation laws, has actively used social media to spread the most outrageous anti-nuclear fear-mongering. And very little of their criticisms have a basis in reality. Instead of debating the mechanics of the proposal, Labor has resorted to flooding platforms with cheap memes suggesting animals will be horrifically mutated by a nuclear reactor, like this from Andrew Lee. And then this from Labor MP Peter Cahill, who thought he was very clever labelling the policy a fairy tale and then doctoring Dutton's face onto Snow White as he towered over 7 radioactive dwarves. And the unions, which of course bankroll Labor, were fact-checked for saying that Dutton's power plants would turn your family dog into this disgusting monster. But the monster is not actually a mutated dog, but rather a microscopic creature known as a tardigrade, or more colloquially, a water bear. Now, Seven's new digital publication, The Lightly, had a bit of fun with the fake news, splashing on Minister of Disinformation. Labor swaps sensible debate for fake news memes, with the PM leading a scare campaign that claims nuclear power plants would lead to radioactive wastelands and deformities. Now, remember this unintelligent and false form of debate next time Prime Minister Anthony Albanese seeks to lecture you about misinformation. He wants to pass laws preventing you from saying things that he thinks are wrong, but is happy for Labor pollies to lie and spread the lies through social media. He even revealed social media companies had been pressured to remove memes that he did not like from platforms back in a speech in January last year.
Media platforms have a responsibility to make sure that misinformation isn't got out there. I noticed today, for example, on the way up here, they've removed various sites that were up containing fake images of myself superimposed on other people. That's the sort of thing that is going on social media. Social media has a responsibility to do the right thing.
Well, the double standards are astonishing, and it is going to get far worse as we get closer to the election campaign period. Now, we revealed today that Labor has created a special campaigning fund to fuel an anti-nuclear blitz as it begs members for cash to finance the move. In a newsletter briefing emailed to Labor's membership database, ALP National Secretary Paul Erickson labelled the coalition's nuclear policy a scam and revealed that it had launched a special fund to finance a fear campaign against the proposal. Now, these misinformation laws won't extend to political advertising or campaigns, so Albanese can block you from having an opinion while financing a fear campaign against legitimate policies. And for those in the media, this is another reminder why we cannot let politicians dictate to us what is true and what is false. Well, let's bring in the Australians Darren Davidson and the Courier Mail's Damien Tomlinson. Darren, obviously we're getting closer to the potential election campaign. We know that because the rhetoric is heating up. However, some of it seems to not be too true, and the use of memes, it's, if not just flat wrong, it's definitely childish.
Agree. I mean, it's a very juvenile debate that's happening around nuclear at the moment, and it's the ideological campaigns and slugfest that's playing out is really divorced from the merits of, debating what's actually on the table, which is a really important, legitimate question around nuclear energy as a provider of baseload power in this country as we try and modernise our energy industry. And as we heard at the Australian Energy Nation conference on Wednesday, business leaders have said that nuclear should, all bets should be on the table. Nuclear should be considered. We're the only G20 country in the entire world that doesn't have nuclear as an option, as part of the mix. So it's a shame that this very important debate, as consumers face big energy bills, is descending into this ideological slugfest.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Damien, this is not an issue internationally which appears to be drawn on ideological lines. It's not really a left or a right issue. It's an energy supply issue. What did you make of Labor's approach to this? Rather than taking on the debate and whether or not they're right in the debate, it's how they're debating which I think is the problem.
Yeah, look, I think it really has been disappointing. I think Labor's missed a huge opportunity to actually land a blow on Dutton, which it's failed to do for several months now, and the polling's now showing that Peter Dutton's the preferred Prime Minister. I mean, it must be just an absolute circus behind the scenes at Labor Party HQ. And what we saw yesterday with these memes and, you know, basically it sort of came across to me as like grade 5 idiots passing notes in class. You know, it's sort of really missing a legitimate opportunity to discuss this issue. Look, if there's not a lot of detail around Dutton's policy, then he's wide open, and people are really, really concerned about power prices, and which is a key issue that this government has failed on. And so I just think they've either missed an opportunity to debate it, or they don't want to debate it, because as we've seen across the world, nuclear is part of the mix. It's not an ideological question. It's a matter of economics mostly, and power supply. And Australia, with our huge reserves of uranium, surely it's a discussion worth having. Dutton deserves credit for putting it on the table. It's something that now people can see as a point of difference between the two leaders. And it looks like he'll go to an election and seek a mandate. So, look, I think we're up for it. We need to talk about it.
Yeah, well said. And ultimately, it will be up for people to decide. And that's why we have the debate.